Believe it or not, I actually started the stream with a hotkey. I am evolving as a streamer. I am not clicking this button with my mouse anymore. Let's check. Yeah, we seem to be live. So, the title of the stream is not lying. I actually did make a Discord color theme. I wasn't intending to, and I expected myself to kind of fall off very quickly, but I spent 2 days on it, and it's kind of complete. There may be some things here and there that are like off, but I'm changing them up as I find them. So I'm really excited about this stream because it's not the only really cool thing that I did to the last couple of days. So let's go to Discord and look at it. Boom. Essentially, the main idea that I had is to use the same background color as I do everywhere. In my YouTube chat, in VS Code, which I think I can show you. Hold up, I can actually use my thing. So I can ensure. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's fine because it has something else, boom, that I want to show you later, and I don't want to spoil yet. Yeah, I use that in VS Code. I use that in my terminal. Here it is, my terminal, but with transparency, so it looks kind of off in terms of the color, but it's actually the same color. I use it in my browser. I use this color everywhere. I love it. And it came initially from the Groovebox material color scheme. Color scheme? Yes, color scheme for VS Code. I've been using that color scheme for a long time. It was recommended by Pyro to me. So I decided, first things first, to color the background with that color. And then I needed to create a darker color to create this contrast. I've tried it with less contrast and no contrast. It wasn't really working for me. So I decided to make this dark contrast, right? Then in some other place, I don't remember which one, I think it's this, I needed an even darker color, and I just kind of started rolling, kind of infinitely. Oh, this needs to be this color, okay. I hover and it's blue, and I'm like, I hate blue. I'm trans, so I feel like for understandable reasons, I hate blue. It's probably my least favorite color. I think it's severely overused. Think of all the social media that you use or don't use. Most of them are in blue, and it's kind of annoying. Like, pick a new color, goddamn. I heard that blue is like the color of trust, and therefore companies use that color to invoke trust from you. And it's really weird just how much trust they need from you. Like, what? Is there really no other emotion that they would rather have? I don't know, like happiness, comfort, whatever, right? No, it's trust. How much do the social media fuck us over to need that much trust from us? It's really weird. But okay, so as I went on, everything being in white in terms of text and all that stuff, also didn't fit the theme because the white that I use with this background color is a bit of a different white. And if we look at it, actually I think I can even show you. Let's search for, the deck is hex. Well, actually it might just be hex, and it is. I have a picture of that color that I can just straight up show you. It is Groovebox white. Here it is. So if you look at it, it doesn't necessarily look just white. It looks kind of beige, but with combination of this background color, it looks, yeah, it looks white, but just less contrast than there usually is, which I much prefer. I used to have like a normal contrast theme, I guess, but then I found Groovebox and I'm like, oh my god, this is so nice. It's like so easy on the eyes. So, you know how it goes. You change the white color in one place. I think the first thing I did was changing the nickname colors. And then you kinda have to change it in every other place. So I changed it there, there, and basically everywhere. And the project kind of got out of hand because I just kept changing things, like the colors, and kept having more things to change because now they stood out a bit more. Like, for example, this button that I never really press, but I found it useful once, so that's why I'm keeping it. Uh, First of all, you hover over it, it would be usually in blue. Boom, have to change that. You click on it, this background is not the same as the background that we just saw earlier, so I had to change that. This hover effect, I could not figure out how to change, I'm sorry. Because Discord CSS is actually so bad. Like, very often, when they mean, focus, the thing that just exists in CSS to let you style an element once it's focused, or hover, depending on what you want. No, they just add a fucking class. It's called something like focus and then random numbers on the letters, which is quite ridiculous. Like, be normal, come on. Yeah, and then we get to like highlighting, right? And this needs to fit. Sometimes the text I change to black instead of white. That very much depends. Then the on hover was slightly blue once again, so I changed it. I guess I forgot to change it here. Huh. Okay, let me actually add that. See, it's like a project that... I'll need to check if this is the color that I actually intended to use, because it might be, and I can't really tell a difference. But I do want to ensure it. Explore servers, left menu, on hover, background color. That's a huge explanation. Yeah, but usually it's orange. Like when you hover over stuff, it's this very bright orange color. And then once you press and hold down, yeah, I feel like I did change it, considering that I did this. Yeah, once you press and hold down, basically, while you're clicking something, it turns yellow, and boom, it is now fully yellow because it is active. And that's the overall idea that I kept throughout the entire color scheme, where this bright yellow color, which is FFD75F in hex, it's one of the two of my favorite colors, so I decided to use that. And you will see it very often in many places, kind of popping up in this very contrasting way, which I found quite interesting. So the bot tag, if I tag myself, this is how tags look, and then the background is a slightly different yellow. It's also kinda yellow by default, but I changed it a bit, and the on hover effect, the same, orange. Then we can open the right click menu, it's also styled. The red that you will often see is now a bit of a different red that I also use in my shell prompt. Let's react to like this, and the react and the background of the react is in yellow. When I hover over it, it is orange, and I wish to like look at a reaction that I haven't added a reaction to. I wonder if I doubt I'll find it in fucking bot spam. But basically, by default, is just uses one of the three colors, like for the backgrounds, and then you have the on hover that also changes the background in that case. as you might have noticed, the unread channels are in yellow, and once you hover, it's also orange. I decided to not make the background orange in this case because it felt kind of like too much. And then, what's a channel that's not gonna like... Oh, I know, we can go read the rules. You know, before joining this server, I never fucking read the rules of Discord servers because I know how it goes. Don't be bad. And yeah, actually that's like the entirety of the rules most of the time. But then I got banned twice. And I'm like, maybe reading the rules is actually a good idea. So once we click and hold down the channel, the same idea applies. It becomes yellow, and now once it's active, it is yellow as well. Oh, actually, in rules there might be... No, there are no reacts. Why would there be? Then a bunch of icons like this, I guess like streaming one, the voice chat one are yellow with black now on it. What else do we have? Help forum that also aligns with the thing. Basically, pretty much every button that was highlighted, like the background of, with some color, is now either yellow or in the rare cases red. Let's go to user settings. Yeah, Discord is smart. It wouldn't like just show you my password. Got scared for a second. Yeah, that's super fine. Okay, that's cool. Like here, for example, it used red here and a different combination of on hovers and actives here. And I kind of styled it, I guess, to what made sense. I can't say that it makes incredible sense, but I think enough sense for me. Yes, channel and roles we can go and look at. Or not? Okay, that was just slow. Ooh, I need to change this like mark to black, and let me actually type this in. Channels and roles. Extra channels. Check mark. Black. But this works and has this on hover effect. Once again, these work, I do remember. So yeah, it's mostly consistent. True, I've already found like 2 inconsistencies, but to be fair, they're kind of small. And overall, as I use Discord, I don't really notice anything that is out of place or miscolored and so on. Some decisions may be strange, sure, but they were intentional. Yeah. Next thing I would show you is DMs, but I can't unless I like find a DM that I don't care to spoil. And let me try to see if that's like viable at all. Fuck, the hiding secrets thing is so good. Like having a hotkey for it so I can go quickly look at something that I would otherwise not be able to. No, I don't think that's viable. Yeah, Discord color scheme. Absolutely love it. Now, to the next thing. Why is there just a 0 there? Lamau. VS Code. I didn't want to spoil this. Boom. The Git glyphs are now on the left. First of all. And second of all, they are finally a solid color. By default, Git glyphs that tell you that, oh, these lines got added and these 2 lines got modified. they have this very annoying and super unnecessary gradient on like a 45 degree with your background color, and it's just like, why? Why did you add that in? That is unnecessary. Because if what you're currently looking at seems like too much, like they're too big, well, shit, there's a setting for it. You can say git width and change this setting to let's say 2, right? You go back, boom, they're quite smaller. No fucking gradient needed. And to be fair, it doesn't appear until I think 3, but I still don't get why they even add it. It's unnecessary, and it kind of looks ugly. And for the longest time, I wanted to remove it, but there wasn't really a way to do it. But then, my friend Mood sent me a screenshot with his color scheme where those were just solid, and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? How do I do that? So I went ahead to try to read the source code. I gave up very quickly, not because it was particularly difficult, but it like felt like a whole ordeal. So I decided to go for a solution that I knew existed, but I wasn't confident enough to actually use. And it is this extension called Custom CSS and JS Loader. I haven't used JS yet. All I've done is just custom CSS. You're probably used to extensions in VS Code just working. You just install it and it just works. So I personally never read the help page, rather the readme, I think, because like whatever, it works, I'll figure it out. But with this extension specifically, there's some finagling that you have to do to make it work. So I actually do recommend actually reading it. It's a bit different depending on your OS and even distro, but I run Arch, and for me what I needed to do to make it work is that we will scroll down. I had to sudo chown-r my username, a certain directory, and for me it was userlib code. No, for me to use opt Visual Studio Code. So that's on EndeavourOS and maybe Arch 2. I'm guessing Arch 2. Basically what I'm saying is that you should super read this help page if you want to use this extension as well, because it will not work straight up. And then once you've done what it asks you to do, you go and search for the command. For me it's Alt-O, but usually it's Control-Shift-P. Reload custom CSS and JS. You execute it twice. Yeah, it doesn't automatically like reload the window. And then the CSS that you had gets applied. Which CSS, you might ask? In your settings.json, you create this setting where you specify all the CSS and JS files that you want to like enact on VS Code. And they have to be URLs, basically. Even though it's local files, they have to be URLs rather than just straight up file paths. So I only had this single file. Let's go open it. Has a bunch of stuff. Let me quickly go over it. When you install the extension and it like, actually regardless of whether it works already or not, it will give you this kind of paint looking button at the bottom. And you would imagine that you could right click and then like hide it. But no, that doesn't work. There is also a setting. Let's go look for it. Custom CSS. This, and you can disable it here, which also doesn't work. So in other words, the extension immediately gives you a CSS challenge to fucking remove it because it's useless. Like even if you click it, nothing happens. Nothing. It's not like even Oh, you click it and your CSS gets reloaded, which is still useless for me. I just will make a hotkey or run the command through my keyboard. No fucking mouse. But even if it was, it does not do anything, which is hilarious. So first thing you do, where is my cursor? Literally, where's my cursor? Hello? Okay. New Vim extension is sometimes weird. Yeah, first thing you do is this to remove it if you don't want it, and I don't see why you would. Maybe it was a skill issue on my part and I missed what it actually does, but fucking who knows. Then this button, oh, I thought I could click it. No, I can't, which is good. On the top right, the triple dot button that lets you do stuff. Once again, I will go out of my way to not use the mouse. I use Vimium for my browser, for fuck's sake, to like scroll and open links and so on, right? I do not want my mouse to be doing stuff. Like, and the worst thing about it is that it also takes up a possible space for your tab. So it's like extra bad. So I removed that. Alright, and now comes the actual git diff glyph part. First of all, the way that the gradient is made, I can't really show it to you. I guess I could like disable the CSS, reload, show you, and then do it again. Sure, I think it's like worth it for like showing off the difference. Even though I find it incredibly annoying to do, let's be honest. I don't know. Autism makes it really annoying to do things that are actually not that bad. So, damn, I kind of forgot already how bad they look. Yeah, this gradient, it is done with making a background image, which is a gradient. So what I wanted is to not have that gradient. As a sane person, what I did is background color, and then my color, and background image none, right? That's like the obvious solution, no? Yeah, it just made those glyphs 2 times as wide. Which is hilarious. And I spent a lot of time trying to size them properly. And that's another adventure. Trying to... Fuck. Makes me remember just how much time and energy I spent on this. It's insane. The bad thing about VS Code's CSS now, yes, it's also bad, is that this whole area that contains your numbers, your git glyphs, your, if you have them, folding clickers, I removed them, and I'll actually show you the setting that you can use to remove them as well. Seriously? Oh, come on. Exactly when I stream, everyone just starts going crazy. Fuck, and now I forgot the setting. Yes, so if you don't actually want folding, you can disable it. I never fold stuff because it doesn't work well with NeoVim. The line synchronization is just not there. I've tried figuring it out to try to make folding work. Well, as in, it works, but then moving opens the folds, which is super annoying. Basically, not really viable. So yeah, if you don't use folding. Seriously, a fucking vacuum. Oh my god. I feel like I would be streaming at 3 a.m. and an atomic fucking missile would hit my house just to spite me. Fucking hell. What was I talking about? Right, folding. Yeah, you can remove it. And so I did. And that also removes the space between the line numbers and, well, this, making your line numbers and code much closer together. There is a hidden benefit in this, specifically for Vim users that also have relative line numbers. And honestly, I'm not sure why you would have non-relative line numbers if you're a Vim user. It's just so much more convenient. So imagine this situation. Oh, I remembered what I was talking about earlier. I'll come back to it. So let's say you're like, you want to go here to this line. So you look at this, for example, this. There is a bit less travel your eyes need to go to get here, rather than if it's still here, but then there is also the folding thing, and also the git glyph that kinda makes it harder to parse the numbers with your eyes. So it would be, actually it wouldn't even, the code going to the right wouldn't increase as much as there is kind of rubble at the left, making it kind of harder to parse. So removing a bunch of bullshit from there and making the line numbers and the code closer together makes it a bit easier to jump by relative lines. It's a very small difference, but it feels important to me. Right, what I was talking about is that this section, that has the line numbers, the debug circles, I don't have the color red, and I would use it here, but I don't have the color. The git glyphs, I think that's it. I might be forgetting something though. And your editor, when you resize them, they don't use some certain smart value like character or view width or anything of that nature. No, they're just dynamically resized by just specifying the width in pixels in inline CSS. I'm guessing using JavaScript. So I can't even consistently make them resize together. Now, why does that matter? Because what I wanted to do is make the line numbers go a bit more to the left. Rather, I wanted to cut down this empty space that's currently unused and increase the space here. It goes against my point that I just made, to be fair, but that was from the point where git glyphs were still in between. And you can imagine that if we try to put a git glyph here that's kinda wide, and I want them to be wide ideally, it's entirely too crammed. Which is why now they are all the way on the left. Not a solution that I went for initially, but that's my thought process for why it is now. Because I couldn't increase the size here to make them being here viable, because once again, annoying inline CSS, I couldn't really calculate where they're supposed to be, even if I did decide to leave them there. But sitting where they start, being 0, was very easy. It's just left is 0. And that's what I opted for. Now they're weirdly, let's actually reload so they're beautiful again. Now they're weirdly on the left, but the huge positive of this is that the unused space on the left of line numbers is now actually used, first of all, and used effectively. If we were to toggle a breakpoint here, it would show up right between the git glyph and the line number, like in the center. And it works really well together. Yeah. What came to my head while I was explaining this is that I could probably move the line numbers a bit, and that shouldn't be too hard. And I might actually do it. So let me add it. VS Code, move line numbers a bit to the left. Because I do agree that they still feel a bit too close to code, considering how much empty space there still is here. It's still very much unused. And I never really said breakpoints, let me be honest. So I feel like they could benefit from being a bit more to the left. And I'm fucking hoping, I'm like copium on hopium, that is actually doable. In my head, it's just margin and you increase it, or rather you set it, because there's no margin by default. That's what I think it is. I might be completely wrong on that though. Let's get to the CSS. So, first of all, the way that I made them a single color, because I couldn't use background color, it made them twice as big, remember? I decided to continue using background image as they do, but make a gradient with no degree and two of the same colors, making it a single solid color, which is a very weird solution, but yeah, it works. And best of all is that I keep the setting that I showed you off recently, the get width one. It's not called that, but the search works. This one. Because I'm still using background image, this setting still works, and I can still change how white they are if I want to. So let me immediately YR and then GGLF, so I can send you a link to this file in case you also want to apply the same VS Code CSS. And I forgot to actually tell you the CSS for Discord, which you're probably more likely to want anyway. Boom. Here you go. And about Discord, the way that you would apply this anyway is either by using something like Vencord or Beta Discord, which I recommend less because the devs are transphobic, if I remember correctly. I have a friend who was like an active member of that community, and she left because of that kind of thing. Yeah, so, and there are other shitty things better Discord devs are supposedly doing. I didn't go much into it, but not very good PR. And Vencord, let me actually show it to you. The website is already an amazing PR. Boom, let's go to Vencord. It's not lying. That is the cutest Discord client mod. And I'm pretty sure the dev of this is also trans, which is great, amazing. And I mean, like, it shows, like, look at the website, come on. Yeah, so either by using something like Vencord that lets you put in custom CSS, or what I'm using is the stylus extension, which works for any website, but that only works if you're running Discord in the browser, which I am. Yeah. Coming back, we have the CSS for the breakpoint circle, so it's actually in the middle, like in the center. Without this CSS, it's not, basically. And this CSS actually moves the git glyphs to the left by just moving them fully. If you don't have this, if I remember correctly, they won't be exactly on the left. They will have some margin, because usually when you, let's actually delete this line, and you can hover over these and they become something else, and then you can supposedly click on them and they do something. I don't use that whatsoever, so I didn't care about it, but it's something to think about in case you do, in case you care about this effect of like on hover. And I doubt that my CSS stopped the clicking from working. I don't know. I don't use that, so not an expert. So that's about it, about VS Code. We went through the Discord color scheme. On the last stream, I think it was the last stream, I recommended Cronkite to a viewer in terms of a tiling window manager for KDE. I didn't know that there's something slightly better. And it's the slightest, slightest? It's the sluttiest of slight in terms of being better. I don't even know what you're replying to. Or are you replying to the title of the last stream? Oh my god, I didn't change the title. I thought I did. I thought I did. Okay. My bad. I made my own Discord. I actually did this already. Mind you, I did it. I removed the VOD, and then, by the way, once I finish the stream, I add the VOD at the end, so it's like easy to tell whether I'm live or not. Easier, rather. I did this. I made this fucking title. And what's funny is that the thumbnail did change, indeed. But for some reason, the title didn't stay. What? I also cleaned up my description a bit. It had some information that I feel like nobody ever cared about. The fact that I'm using VS Code and my color scheme. Save. Okay, that's better. Cool. Thank you for pointing it out. I wouldn't have noticed until the end otherwise. Right, so bismuth. It's like Cronkite. Really? Huh. Maybe it's like VOD only or something. Cronkite, you just go to here, say scripts. Oops. Oh, recently realized that KRunner by default lets you press Ctrl-J and Ctrl-K for down and up. I did not know this, and therefore, a long time ago, I made my own hotkeys, which is Alt-J and Alt-K, to simulate that behavior, but badly with X.tool. It was not fast enough, and often it would just send the J character into the input box. While all this time, I could just be using what's already in there. It's never explained anywhere. I guess Is there a man page on KRunner? No, so how the fuck would I know about this, right? YX.tool and Y.tool. I haven't gotten to it. I've done a lot of things. I'm still getting to Y.tool. I will definitely do. I'll go crazy with it, I'm sure. Well, I hope. I hope it's not one of those situations where something is amazing but has one huge flaw that is like breaking in terms of me using the software. Like happened with surfing keys, for example. I haven't even tried Emacs, for a very simple reason that I'm so scared that I'll actually like it. And I probably will, let's be honest. Oh, Lamau? I mean, it's a fucking editor. Whatever. I don't think that matters that much. Unless, like, no, I doubt that it's like a considerable deal. Have you used VS Code? You're gonna tell me that Emacs is like possibly slower than VS Code? And see, I'm super fine with VS Code. I love it. But yeah, it's often kind of slow here and there. Bro is out here. Hold up. Let me make it up. Bro's out here doing this. Hold up. It's a very slow meme. Here we go. Why is it showing you the fucking heads? Looking ass? What are you fucking starting up VS Code for? VS Code is exactly the type of app that you just open and permanently have. Or maybe if it's like a project, well, you're working on the project regardless. What are you closing the window for? Just keep it there. Have you seen the 2 by default videos? What? No. Is that a channel name? Yeah, like, VS Code is not the program to be like opening up and like, ah yes, let me edit this file in fucking VS Code. Okay, file maybe, because you probably already have an instance of VS Code in which it will open. But like, I don't think it's reasonable to be like, well, it starts up slow. Well, don't start it up. You know? I also don't know what you're doing with Emacs to make it slower than VS Code. That's even less believable. I doubt it. I super doubt it. I mean, I guess it's... Wait, Emacs is written in C, right? And then configured in Lisp. Or is it like fully written in Lisp? I don't know. / remember. Huh. All right. I'll use this as my headcanon that, yeah, I wouldn't like Emacs. Even though, truthfully, I have no clue, but probably I would like it. I'll just say that a trusted friend said that it is ass. Boom. That's going to be my excuse. Right, so going back to Kwin scripts, the way that you would get Cronkite, which I should delete, is get new scripts, and it's the top like 4, I feel like. And it lets you use the tiling that you constantly see in my streams and videos. But there's something better. And it is called Bismuth. So you paru Bismuth and boom. I downloaded the second one, I think. Let's check to be sure. Paru. Huh, I compiled it. I did not need to do that. If you didn't know, these AUR packages that end with bin is just the binary. So you don't have to compile the actual project yourself. You just get the binary, it's like much faster. And so far, it was sometimes even better. Yeah. And then once you install it, and I think reboot, I'm not sure, I don't remember, you get this system setting called window tiling. And that's where you configure your tiling now. It has all the same stuff that Cronkite has. And let me try to remember what it's actually better at. Because I distinctly remember that it was better noticeably at a single thing. And now I don't remember what it is. First of all, hotkeys, which we'll get to. And it feels faster, but it could be confirmation bias. And there's also something here that's better than Cronkite, but I don't remember. Well, I guess also the main factor is that it's actually being more actively worked on. You should really try Cocoon. It's Helix but good. Wait, but isn't Helix also good? It's like very early in its development, where it's kind of not worth using. By that I mean where Vim is. I have this, hold up. The best Vim Java keyboard dot, yeah, this. Well, the greatest thing about Vim is that you can use Vim without using Vim. That's literally the best thing about Vim. The fact that you don't have to use it. Sounds strange, I know, but what I mean by that is that you can just have the functionality of Vim, and now NeoVim, in a better editor. By better, I mean the one that looks better. This is much uglier than this, in my opinion. Can you do this with Helix? I doubt it. Let's try to search up for it. Oh, theme, Lamau, and even lol. Basically, yeah. As I thought, you most likely can't. I would be heavily surprised if there's already a well-made, like, mature project that is an extension for VS Code that not emulates, but has an instance of Helix that you can configure in both places, like you can with NeoVim. So yeah, Helix might be better in terms of like decision making, but not in terms of usage so far. I've heard of Cocoon, I think from you, but pretty much everything falls into the same problem. The fact that, well, I would have to go from my insanely configured setup, which works super well for me and has all the features that I want and don't want, to something that will inevitably not have something that's kind of important to me. Like, is it worth it? Does it have window groups? It has layouts. I don't know what you mean by window groups. And pinned windows. KDE has pinned windows. Or maybe by pinned windows you mean master windows? Probably more likely to have Cocoon bindings. Emulation. Yeah, the issue is emulation. Like, that sucks. It like removes from the speed quite a lot, at least with the Vim extension for VS Code. The speed difference is like very noticeable. Hold up. Righty, I'm back. I find it funny that whenever I press the hotkey for OBS to switch scenes, it just says 0 in the chat. Yep. I reappeared. Where was I on? Yeah, so the difference between the Vim extension for VS Code and the new Vim extension for VS Code is huge. The speed difference is incredible. Now, the most common point you'll hear against this is that it's fast enough, a few extra milliseconds don't matter. And generally, I super agree. Fuck those NeoVim freaks that keeps telling you you can only use NeoVim itself. If you use it in VS Code, it's not good enough. Fuck them. Like, completely fuck them. It's an insane opinion, considering that the NeoVim extension exists. You do not need to go through all of that ass pain to have features that are already in VS Code, very easily searchable, and so on and so forth. But that's about the NeoVim extension. The thing that the Vim extension does, and the way that it's very, very visibly slower, imagine I want to go to this line, which is the 11th line below, right? The way that I would get to it in Vim is 11J, obviously, and it immediately jumps here. No hold up, everything is great. The way that it would work in the Vim extension, it would, I shit you not, press down 11 times. So it would effectively be, it would be kind of fast, faster than you could probably do it. Still worth it, I guess, but it looks incredibly ugly and stupid. It's super disappointing. I meant Cocoon for those usages where you don't open VS Code and use Vim in terminal. Huh, that's actually super valid. That's super valid because currently I do use NeoVim for like quick edits here and there. Especially when it comes to writing commit messages, I use NeoVim for that. Huh, but then again, having two sets of bindings, it's like, I don't know about that. The idea is good, but it very much scares me. You see, I am crazy. I don't want to go through that hassle. They can stop me. I mean, to be fair, I go through a lot of hassle for supposedly not that much benefit all the time. It's just that my editor, I feel like, is the most configured thing out of all the things that I've configured. And I've configured a lot of things. And yeah, I'm pretty sure if I like go through my dot files, I configured my editor the most. Yeah, exactly. That is 2 days worth of hassle. To be fair, it wasn't like all the available hours I did it. It was more like 8 to 10 hours in total. But yeah, this is the type of shit that I do. My editor though, I don't think it, like fuck that. Even if it is worth it, and believe me, I'll make myself sure. What's the word for this? I'll insure myself. That's not really what I mean either. What's the word for when you basically tell words to a person to change their opinion and it works? Yeah, I would convince myself that it's worth it. But it doesn't really mean that it is. Let me be honest, like, I show off a lot of cool things on this channel. I'm pretty proud of it, not gonna lie, and I'm pretty proud of a lot of things that I constantly do. But it's very important not to lie to yourself, basically, saying that all of them are actually worth the time. A lot of them are not. The leading leader of me wanting to do a lot of the changes that I do is autism. The fact that I pay way too much attention to very small details and they consistently annoy me to an insane like aspect where I'm willing to spend that much time on something that a neurotypical person would just kind of accept, which is like better overall. Yeah, thank you, but I got it. Yeah, so even though I do it, I realize that very often it's entirely too much effort for not much pay. And in terms of my editor, thankfully, I'm not excited about trying out a new editor enough to convince myself otherwise, you know? I should edit videos using code. You're joking, but that was an idea I had. I ended up not doing it, fucking thankfully, because it is honestly insane. But it was an idea I genuinely considered. I have these functions written using FFmpeg that cut videos, right? And I was like, what if I go to a like video editor, no, rather video watcher. What? Video watcher? That's me. Video viewer? Now I forgot how they're actually called. Then I figured out where each like pause starts and ends, and then used FFmpeg to cut all of that. Now, to be fair, it's much faster than using something like Blender or actually any rendering software, because it's just using FFmpeg, no weird bullshit that video editors usually do, which makes it incredibly slow to render. Using FFmpeg massively improves that speed. But keeping on writing down the time marks is ridiculous. Like a completely terminal-based editing experience, which is also very ridiculous. I truthfully considered it. Insurance costs a lot? I wonder what you replied to with that. I should you should use Motion Canvas, but it's TypeScript only video player. I already found my one called Haruna, and I absolutely love it. It actually looks good. It's nicely configurable, but doesn't go too crazy about it. Nice hotkeys. You can even configure the mouse hotkeys. I think I either made a video on it or a stream. It's somewhere on my channel. Very good video viewer. Let me actually spell it, because it's often very hard to understand how something is spelled based on how you say it. Yeah, it's great. It's super amazing. I want to implement Rust support for Motion Canvas, but I'm not smart. Same. Super relatable. Well, thankfully, the idea to edit with code I actually discarded. No, I immediately started convincing myself in my head, like, maybe it's a good solution. No, it's not. It's ridiculous. It's stupid and ridiculous. It's silly. It's super silly. I actually use Blender to edit videos, but I also hate editing, which is why if you go to my channel, which let me actually do that. Huh. Interesting. Why do I have 3 pinned tabs? That's ridiculous. Let's go to my channel. Let's just have a look at my videos. Right. I didn't think it would actually go me to YouTube Studio, but okay. Okay, my silly emoji picker. What a cool video. I wonder when's going to be the next one. Oh, a month passed. I hate editing a lot. I despise it. I hate it so much. Ah! Especially considering, what is this? Reformation? Yeah. Why is it... and even funnier is that too. Very strange. I super recommend him, by the way. It's my most comforting YouTuber. As you can see by how many episodes I've watched, I'm on the 220th. Records playthroughs on like roguelikes, and they're long. He's super chill. He doesn't even swear. It's so cute. And I've been watching him for a while. fucking love him so much. Yeah. So I hate editing. So maybe switching to editing in the terminal will make you like it more? I doubt it, but who knows? The main dislike I have about editing is that you sit through a lot of mistakes and imperfections. You start hyper focusing on those mistakes and imperfections. Also, adding when, say, I record a line, I fuck it up in the middle, and I restart my sentence, but it's now has a different structure. So then when I edit, I try to remove the bad element, squish them together, and now the sentence doesn't really make sense, or I'm missing an important sound to like specify a word. And all of that stuff is so noticeable in editing. It is like unbearable. It's mentally challenging. Wait, that means a different thing. It's mentally demanding in terms of like self-confidence and stuff. You edit a video, and by the end of editing the video, you're like, yeah, that's a pretty bad one. You then upload it, and it has like great views, and you're like, what? Why? So I don't really want to make videos. I feel like I will eventually, probably, but I like streaming a lot more. It's like far less stressful in comparison, and I can still like show off cool stuff without being as stressed out about it. It can be a more fun experience, and the best part of it is that I get to interact with you guys. That's like the best part of streaming. I get to basically info dump about my special interests while people are watching me and interacting with me. That's like incredible, and I don't have to edit. Oh my god. Motion Canvas isn't in terminal though, fortunate. Yeah, I mean, you're right. That is fortunate if we're being real here. But I'm getting like super excited about the idea of like a terminal-based video editor. And what I mean by that is not something like, wait, what is it called? Something map. Yeah, Mapsy. Fucking Mapsy, Lamau. Yeah, terminal map. Super cool by itself, but that's not really what I'm trying to show off here. But yeah, it is cool. I found my house using this map, which is crazy. So, right, this is what you think of when you think, oh, video editor in the terminal. Basically, using the limitations of the terminal to their greatest limits, and having something like this, which is really cool, but kinda like, yeah, a GUI would probably be better, but this is super cool. This is not what I mean by saying a terminal-based video editor. So not like, oh, it has your video here in OSI or whatever, or somehow, right? It has your track. No. Like, trash the idea of your usual video editor out of your head. That is not what I mean. What I mean is literally the idea of me using FFmpeg to just specify the times precisely. That exact idea, but kind of replicated in a TUI environment. You can't maybe even see the video, because at least for me, editing is just removing the pauses. I don't really need to see the video that much. I can just tell by the audio. So something of that nature. I guess a audio editor would work better in terms of that. But yeah, something like very simple and very crooked. I feel like the word fits the best. Like crooked. I can never tell how to properly say that word though. It's very strange, like crooked? Is that E at the end there actually supposed to be there? I'm not sure. I think so, but at the same time it feels super weird. Right, hotkey. No E. Crooked? Crooked sounds weirder though. Really? I've heard it being said as crooked very often. Shortcuts. Let's go to, if you use Cronkite, you would go to KWin and it would say Cronkite blah blah blah. And actually it still does because I forgot to remove the extension. But Bismuth has its own thing, which is pretty nice. It has all of the hotkeys that Cronkite has, and better yet, on their GitHub page, which I might as well give to you. Oh, see, I'm so easy to gaslight that you could literally just say that and it would run with it. Oh, I have to document something. The phrase mad bricks. Mad bricks. It's mad bricks out here. I saw a comic today on Reddit that like used the phrase, and let me look it up and set it in the chat so you can go look at it. But I found it so, like, I don't know, I love it so much for some reason. The phrase mad bricks is so ridiculous. Like, why are the bricks mad? That is strange at best. Okay, let me grab a link and go open the chat on my phone. I find it like really nice. Whenever I do need to open chat on my phone, my stream is usually just the topmost video, but I guess not today. What? I am public. Yeah, I am public. Okay. Let's do it differently. Let me send the link to my computer and then resend it from there. I'll need you to close your eyes for a second, because I have this very, very silly way of doing things. Whenever I need to transfer something from my phone to the PC, I just have a Telegram channel where I send stuff into, and yeah, and then I take it from there on my computer. On KDE, technically what you could use instead is a thing called KDE Connect. It's very good, I love it, can't be bothered to connect. Telegram is just easier in that sense. So yeah, this is like my favorite phrase now. It's mad bricks out here. It's so funny. And I also need to add it to my memes thingy. Yes, I have a JSON file with all the links that I need, and it has a section with memes. It's mad bricks out here. Don't run away with the E. I don't have it, unfortunately. I wish I did. You ain't public. You ain't streaming. Imagine. You know, I'm still very easy to gaslight. If you tried hard enough, you could actually convince me that it is true, which I find hilarious. Another thing that I found hilarious is that this and many, many other signs were not enough for me to even consider autism. And it goes to show just how, like, undiscovered it is, at least in Russia, but I feel like in the US as well, in the sense that it's just this very transparent, no, transparent means a different thing in this context, very wobbly term that barely means anything until you really look into it, and you never really do, because it's like, oh, it's like being weird and 3 dots, but when you look into it, you're like, ah, so this thing that I've been having Oh, I see. This woman has never heard of syncing. Damn. Syncing where? Where? Uh, yeah. All the hotkeys. Right, bismuth. I get distracted so much. Bismuth. I think this is it. Sync thing. Ah, it's a program. You're like a gold mine for random, cool, amazing programs. That is wild. Like, wow. So this, let me why, and then because it has a shell script somewhere in here that lets you import your Cronkite hotkeys into Bismuth, which is super cool, like incredibly cool. Also doesn't work. At least for me, I've been having this bug kinda ever since. Yeah, ever since I started using Linux and KDE by extension. If I try to change a hotkey, let's say I set a hotkey here, they already used somewhere else, it will get removed where it was being used, but it will not be set here. So for me, setting the hotkeys automatically did not work, but maybe that's for you, who knows. I try my best at derailing the train of thought. I think it's more fun that way, at least to me. I feel like when the content is like too streamlined, it can get boring. But if it's constantly moving and changing and doing kind of whatever, I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Okay. It's kind of like more fun this way. It's more lively. All these hotkeys, right? Not gonna go over them because I think I did in that stream where I talked about Cronkite. But one of the things that it has, which is amazing, is that you can make a hotkey to specifically resize your master window, which in this case I'm pretty sure is the chat. Yeah, it is. Usually you would just do it by resizing the window that you're on, so you're on shortcuts. You can just resize this window, and that by extension resizes the master window. But if you have multiple and they're positioned in some certain way, it's still very, very convenient to be able to specifically resize the main window, not the other ones. Yeah, I specifically use the hotkey that disables. I'm so dumb. I use the hotkey that disables my microphone, so you see the OSD, so you can tell that, oh, I specifically disabled audio because I'm like coughing, sneezing, I don't know, something of that nature. Because there's also a like touchscreen button on the top of my microphone that I could be pressing to disable my input. And you wouldn't be able to tell. I was checking if this would change, but it does not. But if I toggle mute my microphone through KDE/Linux, then you can tell, like the icon changes. Yeah. I do it specifically this way, so you won't have to worry about, oh god damn it, my fucking headphones broke, or what's up with my speakers, and so on and so forth. Because that's an often thing I'm worried about when I'm watching a video and the audio is lost, and I am immediately like, is that an issue on my part? I'm specifically doing it this way so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. If you have yeah, this for example, I'm using a different layout here where this is the singular master window, which is in the middle, and it resizes in like both places basically, which is super cool, I think. And then I can't reasonably imagine a situation where we would not resize the main window by resizing some other one. But let me try to come up with that one. Okay, yeah, let's open another terminal and we do this. You have a question? Okay. Literally me. That is literally me. How do you remove the padding at the bottom of a terminal? You mean this specific one? Or do you mean like overall from your terminal emulator? Because in Kitty, you can actually configure that. Let's try to remember what it fucking is. It's probably somewhere at the top. Yeah, here we go. This. But that's like Kitty terminal specific. You can set the padding that you use. And I supposedly don't have any vertical padding. That sounds hard to believe. Because it shouldn't be believed. Essentially, terminals are sized by columns, and therefore it can't always resize correctly without padding, is what I'm guessing is the issue. Because as you change this value, it won't always change the padding. It kind of jumps. It's kind of my thoughts. Where were we? Here. Yeah, I cannot think of a situation where resizing the window would not also resize the master window. This like horizontal 3 windows example I tried to show off to you, those are 3 master windows. Unless, no, not this, we do this, tile layout 0, well, now it doesn't have a master window. If I change it here, I change the master window, same here, same here. I'm trying to find a use for this hotkey, but I can't imagine a situation where it would actually be useful. Oh well, where were we? Tile layout to 1. This. Well, I like having it anyway. Forgot you could do that on Kitty. Yeah, you absolutely can. For me, the difference is more semantic. So, say I want to like increase the chat. I have I have a single master window. Okay, yeah, basically say I am on chat and what I want to do is essentially resize the other window, resize the terminal. Technically and practically, objectively and truthfully, you could just resize the chat and it would resize the terminal. Duh. But in terms of meaning, I guess, my intention is to resize the master window. And I can express that intention in a more one-to-one way, rather than, oh, by resizing the chat, I am also resizing the terminal. No, I straight up take the thought of, I want to resize the terminal, and it goes directly into the action I want to do. even though it is the exact same action, in my head it's kind of like easier to separate the two. While, yeah, I find it really hard to make up a situation where it would actually be different whatsoever. So yeah, it has this useless hotkey, but there are more actually useful ones. For example, Cronkite gives you two options. By default, meta H and meta L, resize, and meta J and meta K go to the next or previous window. So you can't have a let me cook. Positional, like directional move. Or you can set the other setting that does give you the directional move, and meta H and meta L now go to the sides, but you now have to use different hotkeys for the resize, right? So it's either or. You cannot have hotkeys both for moving in directions and moving to previous and next, unfortunately, which Bismuth fixes by actually giving you those options. Like I can focus next and previous window even though I have directional hotkeys. That makes me think of maybe making hotkeys to move to next previous too. They sound pretty nice, but I don't have like convenient places for that anymore. I could replace the decrease and increase master area size thingies, but then it's on meta alt this, which I don't think is worth it. Yeah, something like HJ, which I would usually have to do, where I would otherwise use focus previous window, for example. It's still easier to do than this. So I probably won't set a hotkey for that, but you can, is the thing. And it has the same idea with moving the window to different positions. So you can also have directional moving and next previous moving. That is super nice. So far, two noticeably good things about Bismuth that are better than Cronkite. Okay. Also, like, the hotkeys are actually more understandable. Cronkite hotkeys make no fucking sense when you read them at first. Bismuth makes a bit more sense. Cronkite also doesn't have a rotate in reverse hotkey, which you can set in Bismuth. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. I used to like do voice training so that I don't like cough out of my mind before I stream. But let's be honest, I cannot be bothered to do that. So I don't. I just gonna have to deal with it. Skill issue, really. Alright, let's fucking continue. You can still rotate part, which I still barely understand. And yeah. So, 3 new hotkeys. Cool. And that's basically it. So if you want 3 new hotkeys for your window tiling script, instead of Cronkite, you could install Bismuth. It is like 3% better. Great PR, right? Terrible, really. It's like, when you look at the things in a more objective manner, through a more blank lens, it's not that much better, but it's kind of better. Somewhat. A bit. Oh, and also, you cannot, I think it's window management? Yeah. You cannot get it from this, where you would get Cronkite. You actually have to install Bismuth some other way. I'm on Arch, so I can just paru Bismuth as I've already shown. For you, read the GitHub page. It's, yeah, it does tell you how to install it. So, yeah, Bismuth, a slightly better Cronkite. It is mad bricks out there. God, I love this phrase so much. Okay, a smaller but pretty cute thing that I did. It's actually not fish control enter hotkey, it's kitty control enter hotkey. Let me get to it. Let's say I do echo. I haven't tried tiling window management. I probably should at some point. If you also use KDE, I super recommend using something like Bismuth, and it seems to be the best one for like KDE. Maybe I just haven't found any other ones. It lets you ease yourself into window tiling managers without going through, like, without taking a really big step, which you would have to do by switching from a desktop environment to a full-on window manager. So it's like a nice, pretty comfortable step. Will take you, if you're literally me, will take you about 2 hours to set up and figure out and kind of like process, you know? And then you're good. Plan going full window manager, try Hyperland. I've been hearing about it for some time. I might, but I've heard of i3 a bit more. It's a WLC, not a WM, but everyone has to make the switch eventually. Yeah, pretty much. I'm still using Intel Linux in general, to be honest. Yeah, there is a lot of stuff in Linux that you can like explore. So it takes time for sure. Say there is a command that I keep repeating, like echo columns, and then I resize the terminal, which, let me try to think of how I would do it. Like this. Right? I resize my terminal. First of all, now I can press Alt-A to execute my previous command, but it's very setup specific. Still, let me show you it. We go to kitty.conf, we search for Alt-A, and it does this. Basically, what it does is that it's when I press Alt-A while in a kitty window, it sends escape, K, and enter. Either K or the up arrow, I don't actually remember. And it does it that way because, let's try to do this manually. I do escape to go to normal mode, I do K to go to previous command, and I press enter. And that's why. Don't use i3, use sway, is the WLC drop-in replacement. What is a WLC? I jumped from Windows to NixOS. Oh my god. Since declarative system config sounded fun, all of this is new stuff to me. Fucking NixOS. Sast, you like ate my ears out, which is a very sus phrase to say about NixOS. That now, anytime I hear it, I get like flashbacks. I mean, to be fair, it's very cool. uh, in what I've seen from you. Like, super cool, amazing even. But yeah, I use the other overly ass-licked distro, Arch. Not specifically, I use EndeavourOS, which is a derivative of Arch, but same idea. Honestly, don't think I can use anything else anymore. Yeah, that's how it usually works. But that is not the phrase that you would say from using Debian. Because Debian fucking sucks, and I think all of us three can agree on that. Right? I fucking hate Debian. It's my... Okay, it's not my biggest enemy. I have two... Maybe three? I think I have two enemies. Sounds very edgy, I know, but... kinda true. My third enemy is probably Debian. Fuck, I'm forgetting about V1. Oh my god. No, V1 is my biggest enemy. And Debian is my fourth biggest enemy. Well, I guess he's not that big of an enemy. I don't really care about him anymore. Okay, so Debian is my third enemy. And yes, you're just supposed to sit around and try to figure out what the fuck I mean. Yeah. Once you tried it, it's impossible to go back. V1, the Ultra Kill protagonist? No. That game is great. I watched it. Didn't play it, but I watched it. Super cool game. But unfortunately, I am not a femboy, so I kind of can't play it, unfortunately. It's like, by law, it's illegal for me to play it. Like, if I was a femboy, I would have played it already. I'm sure. But I'm a trans girl, and it's a considerable difference, so I would go to jail. In my autistic manner, I'm gonna explain the joke. There's this stereotype going around that femboys really like the game Ultra Kill. I'm not sure why. But you can plug a butt plug into that game so that when you like move around and shoot and do stuff, it actually vibrates correctly into your butt plug. And I think that's why the femboy stereotype, like, that's where it came from. Interesting, right? You're an Ultra Kill speedrunner. It sounds like an incredible game to speedrun. It's so dynamic. I fucking love it. Make of that what you wish. Butt plug user. Right, so I repeat the command, and now I can use it more easily, so that I can not have to do escape K, enter. And instead I can just Alt A. And we'll come to why it was that useful to repeat a command to begin with, so that I made an entire hotkey for it. Remind me if I forget, please. Right, repeating commands. So, I just repeated commands a lot, and now I want to clear my screen. By default, no, not by default. I like saying by default, but no, not by default. It's also my hotkey. In Kitty, I press Alt-D, and it scrolls up so that the latest shell prompt is, well, the only one on the screen. And I can press Alt-S for the opposite of that. But pressing Alt-D every other command basically is kind of annoying. It's a very like easy hotkey to press, to be fair. It's super nice, but even then, I wish there was a way to execute a command and scroll all in a single action. And imagine I just said, oh, and unfortunately it does not exist, and just went on. I really like building up suspense to a very obvious conclusion. The conclusion obviously being that I made a hotkey that does exactly that. And I'm saying it in such a way as if it's not obvious and I'm coming to it. Basically, Control Enter does it. It executes the command and then, or rather, not then, immediately scrolls this way. So I can kind of clear my screen in not as extreme of a fashion as I could by Alt-D'ing, but still having the same idea of, oh, I'm executing commands, and then every once in a while I can just press Control Enter instead of just Enter to scroll a bit up. Very, very convenient. And let me show you that hotkey now. It is Control plus Enter. And we're using Combine here. Combine is a special thing in the KDE terminal that lets you do multiple things. You would usually make a hotkey that does a single thing, like here we do a single thing, which is called paste from clipboard, right? But if you wanted to do multiple things, one after the other, use combine and then this symbol. You might not have to use this symbol specifically. It might be any symbol, to be fair, but in my config, I had this symbol, so at least I can trust it. I don't quite remember the syntactical rules around it. So you combine, and then this is your first action. Boom. You syntax all, and \n is just a new line meaning enter. You send enter, and then you do scroll prompt to top, which is also what my Alt-D hotkey is set for. But because it doesn't actually wait for enter to be interpreted and done by your shell, it does not care. It just sends enter and immediately scrolls prompt to top, which is why when we echo columns, control enter, it doesn't scroll all the way up. Which truthfully I think makes a bit more sense, because you just executed the command, you probably want to see its output. I feel like more often than not, actually no, you don't, but I'm not sure how to make it so that it actually like scrolls all the way while also executing the command. Unsure. You would have to wait for the next prompt. I'm not sure how to properly wait for it. Maybe it's something I'll figure out eventually, but yeah, currently I have this hotkey. Now let me actually send you a, like my config, gglf xcp. So for the VOD watchers, that link is going to be the most recent commit. So it's going to be in the future. And now let's do glf. Nope, not that. kdconf and then xcp, so that you have a link that is guaranteed to work, but it is like static. So that link, let me actually push it to make sure you actually have the thing. That link is basically the commit right now, as of streaming, as of recording this video, so on, so that you have both options. Cool, control enter. Now, why was I repeating echo columns so many times? Because of something that I just recently noticed about Fishshell, and I've been using it maybe even for, no, not for a year. I don't think so. But for a pretty long time. And I think I fully discovered it on one of my streams and started using it, so it's trackable when I started using it, but I don't remember. But kinda a long time. I just noticed this, that if you resize your terminal to a point where your shell prompt doesn't fit, it starts doing this. So it said floral barrel, right? But because it didn't have enough space, it just put ellipses there. Which is super annoying, because like, why wouldn't you just like wrap the text over the columns? Turns out it's like a whole entire issue, and it's funny that I say issue because I read an issue on it. Fish shell something something. I think it's this one. You might be impressed that I'm not scared of showing my search history on stream, while being scared of like showing my root password and stuff. That's simply because all of my porn is on my phone, like searched for and so on. I did not need to share that information. But I wanted to. I often can't tell whether I should share something or not until a long time after. And I guess that's fine. So yeah, this issue, which I'm also going to give you a link to, if in case you want to read about it. Yeah. Basically, because of some escape sequences, close the chat accidentally. I almost want to make the chat window impossible to activate, but then I send some things in chat from time to time, so it's not viable. It's like, kind of annoying. Right. Basically, blah, blah, blah. Wrapping the escape codes is difficult, so that's why, instead of wrapping stuff, we just have these ellipses, basically 3 dots, as I usually call them, when your prompt doesn't fit. And I was like, huh, that's super annoying. What the fuck? Because beforehand, how my prompt used to look like is that it would have a yellow symbol here at the left that would show me the Vim mode of fish shell that I'm currently in. It was helpful. It was helpful at first in a different terminal emulator. I think back when I was in Windows. It's hard to think about having used fish on Windows, but I think I did it there because my my cursor didn't change properly. Sometimes it like wasn't consistent. Say I'm in this window doing some stuff, completely forgot about that other terminal. I go to that terminal, and then I couldn't trust the shape of my cursor to figure out what Vim mode I'm in, and therefore I had the symbols that I'm still pointing to. Finally, oh, that's a cute line. Here, that would basically show me which Vim mode I'm in. And if my shell prompt didn't fit, that is gone. Отстань, кошка. Отстань. Hold up. Yeah. I very easily forget what I was doing. It was really annoying to me that that symbol is also removed. It's one thing if the directory name is too long and then you start cutting it down from the left. I think that makes incredible sense. That's okay. But the fact that there was an extra symbol really freaked me out, because a certain consistency that was there is no longer there, and it's like super annoying. And especially considering that I have Octusi here, Lamau, and even LOL, that is a real name of a real program that I made, and it's actually good. It's not like a joke project, it's an actual good program, and it's called Octusi. I shit you not. It's fucking, so fucking, it's so funny. That's hilarious, isn't it? Yeah, so we have modified files here, but I could also have unstaged, deleted, stage renamed, stage added, and stage modified. Oh, and also stashes, unpushed, and unpulled. That's a lot of symbols that could be here, which extends to at least here. Then, what if I execute a command that has multiple pipes? For example, true, false, true, false. Well, in that case, we will see this, which extends it by, I think, even more. And then the name of the branch could be at least twice as big, maybe even more. So I'm like already past the point. And then the name of the directory could be even bigger. Because an interesting thing that I do in my terminal, let's go to SRS. It should. Oh, I'm in a different. Sure, let's fucking go to Git, whatever. Well, my entire point is falling apart. Let's go to the actual project and go to SRS. Boom. If I'm in a Git project, a relative path is shown, which means that it also gets bigger. And therefore, I'm like way past. Well, maybe if I had the full width, I wouldn't be way past, but I'll be mostly past this point. And if I resize my terminal to something like a half, which is very reasonable, then it won't fit and it will start eating characters from the left. Once again, it's fine if it eats the like part of a directory, that's okay. But the symbol eating I was not fine with, so therefore I decided to remove it whatsoever. Okay, we still have like most of the prompt. That still would have most of the issue. Where now the issue is the fact that now it eats the entire current working directory because there are a bunch of other symbols which are truthfully less important. I still would like to see them, you know? And that is, like, that entire reason is why I implemented my own wrapping on my own terms. Once I resize my terminal to a certain extent, it now switches to a 3-lined terminal, or rather shell prompt. It's 3-lined in this case because it's a Git repository, but if it wasn't, then it would be a 2-line prompt, as you can see. So as I'm resizing, it automatically changes, doesn't even print a new line or anything, it just does itself. Let's go back to where we were. So if it's half, then it's still normal, because I feel like it's still a bit makes sense to keep it as I'm used to seeing it. But once it's lower than my half, then it's a 3-line prompt. And let's try resizing even more. Now it eats from the correct place, still giving me enough context to work with in terms of the current working directory without looking annoying. And all my other symbols are still here. Unless there were quite a bit more symbols here from Octusi, then the branch name gets eaten, which is fine because I usually know what branch I'm on anyway, and it's usually main. So the fact that it's eaten in this very specific situation is not that bad. And the status symbols are done on the third line before the prompt symbol rather than here, which you would think like they would be here, but no, I decided that putting them on the third line spread things out a bit more. And how did I do this? And imagine I just don't tell you how to do it and don't even give you the link. That would be terrible. That would be villainous. So in my prompt.fish, that's ggl f, very important to remember, boom, boom, and sure, I'll also give you the current link, xcp, boom. So most recent commit and current commit respectively. No, actually, no respect. I hate it. What? The way to do what I did, we have this variable that we've been testing many times. Here, yeah, echo columns. The columns, I think environmental variable, shows you what columns your terminal emulator has to work with. I got Rust Analyzer and completion working. Fuck yeah, it wasn't working for you? That's wild. I heard that the Rust Analyzer is like very splitting in the sense that it's either works amazing or breaks constantly and is terrible. Like depending on the person, depending on like, I don't know, the stars aligning. So yeah, nice. You do if test the columns that your terminal has is greater than, hold up, greater or equal, in my case, then the threshold that you set, like literally a number, you go and check how many columns is how many, then you can decide to print a new line instead of a space in your fish shell prompt. And then I do that thing again inside of the branch. So if there is a current branch, if this is a Git directory basically, then after Octusi we check if our terminal fits a certain threshold, and we print a new line again if it doesn't. So it's very simple, a very simple solution. I wish that NewVim had fuzzy command preview like VS Code. This VS Code's feature is amazing. Truthfully, maybe even the best one. Like the best overall feature. The fact that you can just, I want to, fuck, what do I want to do? I want to compare, I think. Active file with saved. Yeah, that one. You know, like, holy shit, that is so useful. You don't even need to know exactly how the command is called. You just kind of throw words at it until it fits, and it usually does. It's really cool. Yeah, so this solution to this fish shell thingy, it's a very simple one in terms of how to wrap stuff. I tried just wrapping automatically, basically splitting by how many characters there are, but once you change colors using fish shell and split on those actual characters, they're not shown as characters, but they are, then the coloring breaks and it just shows you the random nonsense characters. That doesn't really work, especially considering that the length of my shell prompt is dynamic. It's not like it's going to be the same length every time, where I could split it up like whatever, you know? So I decided to do it in a more static way, where I just check how many columns I have and insert new lines where I think it makes the most sense, even if I don't necessarily need to wrap yet. In this situation, for example, we didn't need to wrap, we still have space, and it's a pretty comfortable amount of space. It's not the biggest amount of space, but it's fine. I wouldn't personally, right? Yeah, I wouldn't personally wrap there, I don't think. Well, I did set this number, and I'm lying, I would wrap here. It's still, like, better. So, let's do a visual. And let's erase this. So we would have this amount of space. Now I gotta get inlay hints working. Oh fuck yeah, they're so important in Rust development. It's crazy. I hate that it doesn't enforce you to always specify the types everywhere, because you end up in this roundabout situation where you still look at the types, but through an extension in this roundabout way. I've talked in length about it some time ago. Yeah, basically, yeah, I would wrap here, but not always. Maybe if I'm in like here, I would definitely not wrap here. It is nonsensical and super not needed, but trying to figure out the length of stuff and being very assy about wrapping only when needed complicated the prompt much further than it is worth it. So I decided to just go this route, where I immediately wrap no matter what once it reaches a certain threshold. And I do that in the two places where it makes sense to actually wrap. And then it becomes either a 3-lined shell prompt or a 2-lined one. Ooh, we're almost done. Fuck yeah. Okay, sorry. I don't mean that. Fuck yeah, I'm finally going to be able to finish streaming. I like streaming, after all. But it feels really nice, the fact that I had so many things to show off, and I actually can. I kind of expected myself to burn out at around the center part. Like, what did we have here? Like, that is a lot. That is 6 things to talk about. So that's why I'm like happy about it. NeoVim. I just recently realized, and I think this might be extension specific. So let's go to my plugins to show you what plugins I am using. This might be NeoVim surround specific. So let me give you a link to this as well. VGL F. I'm not going to give you a definitely working link because this is NeoVim, and in the future it might update to not work this way. Well, I guess that's not my issue then still, so I will give you a link. I'm very volatile. Yeah, the supposedly always working link to my plugins setup. Right, so NeoVim surround, actually more usefully, this. Boom. It might be NeoVim surround specific, but maybe it also exists in Vim Surround, like the default plugin for Vim specifically. I do not know, just kind of randomly recognized that it is a thing. We can YS inside Word, and this lets us surround the word detached, in this case, with any character that we want. We could do double quote, for example, and we just surrounded it, right? YS inside the word, we can actually just say A. Huh. I guess it's a special case that I forgot about. Let's do S. Yeah, and just surrounds it with the letter S. As simple as that. Turns out you can YS inside word I, and then it asks you for the two delimiters. So we can do ABC, ASDF, FDSA. So what's on the left and what's on the right. And it just adds it there, which is amazing. This is basically like say we're here, we do select inside word, escape A, FDSA, then we jump to the start of the selection, I ASDF. That's another like efficient way of doing exactly the same thing. But the fact that you can do it this way is super cool. I haven't found a situation where it was useful to me yet, but it sounds incredible. Like, wow, I did not know that this was a feature. So yeah, I find it super, super cool. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and goodbye.